Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you. This is a slide rule. That's right, it's a slide rule. But it isn't just any old slide rule. This is my slide rule. This is the slide rule I was required to buy as an incoming freshman at the University of Nebraska in 1971. I will now pause while you calculate my age, right? Now, I often take my slide rule to class, and I show the students the powerful calculations this simple device can perform, and they're always amazed. Invariably, one of the students will raise their hand and ask, why did the University of Nebraska force you to buy something like that? The answer? Hand calculators hadn't been invented yet. And that's absolutely true. The look on their face is priceless, right? Their eyes get big and the jaw drops open a little bit, and you can actually hear them think, wow, that guy's older than dirt. Well, I'm not older than dirt, as you've already calculated. The first scientific handheld calculator was produced in 1972, the following year, by Hewlett-Packard, the iconic HP-35. Now, some of you in this room may remember that calculator, but you might have forgotten, though, that in 1972, that hand calculator cost $395 for a handheld calculator. That would be like over $2,000 in today's money for a simple hand calculator. Well, in 1972, I could not afford that. There is no way. Now, the good news is, the next year, 1973, a Japanese company called Rockwell came out with a hand calculator that would do pretty much the same things, but at less than half the cost. That I could afford that. So I bought one. And that hand calculator changed my life as an engineering student. For the first time, I could try different paths towards the same solution. It took the amount of time it took me to do my homework assignments and my other work, and it more than cut it in half. For the first time in my career as an engineering student, I actually had some free time. I hardly knew what to do with myself. But I had to put this technology down and pick up that new technology in order to make that happen. So I see some younger folks in the room. That's great. I've got an assignment for you. If you are a young engineer, or for that matter, if you just want to be a young engineer, I'd like you to take out your cell phone. Okay? I'm serious about this. Take out your cell phone, or some of you've got an iPad or whatever, and take a hard look at that technology. And consider this. That cell phone that you're looking at right now, when you get to be my age, that will be your slide rule. That's right. You are holding and looking at a slide rule. Which begs the question, what will that technology look like when you get to be my age? And by the way, you're going to get to be my age way faster than you think. It's true. You wake up one morning and you look in the mirror and there's your dad looking back at you. It's very scary. So, what's that new technology going to look like? Is that technology you're holding right now even going to exist? And the important question is, will you be able to adapt to that new technology? That's the big question. Because all of us, every single person in this room, has their own slide rule. Everybody has had to adapt to the changes in technology, changes in processes, changes in equipment. It's the thing that ties all of us together, regardless of where we live. It is the power of adapting that lives and organizations and communities are transformed. Our ability to shape tomorrow is born out of our willingness to adapt today, and that is the foundation of our theme for the year, Adapt Today to Shape Tomorrow. So that's great. Adapt today to shape tomorrow. But how are we going to do that? That's a very powerful thought, isn't it? That we can create our own future. That's a powerful, powerful concept. But how are we going to do it for our society? We need to address three broad directives in order to make that happen. Number one, we're going to adapt ASHRAE resources to develop the visionaries of tomorrow. This directive has got three initiatives assigned to it. Number one, we're going to launch an ASHRAE University educational platform. And in point of fact, we've got that done. I announced at our winter meeting in Las Vegas just a couple months ago, actually 3 months ago now, that this new educational portal was up and running. You can find it on ashrae.org/elearning. And what we've done here is we've brought all of our world-class educational products and put it on one page. And then we have put in a search engine and a filter so that you can filter through all of our products, whether they're webinars or e-learning or self-directed courses, and you can pick those educational products that serve your needs. On top of that, we've got a dashboard built into it so that you can track your progress towards some goal. It might be certification, it could be licensure, it might be something for your employer, something for your supervisor, showing them how you are progressing towards some professional goal. This was assigned to PubEd Council, and I want to thank them for getting that done as quickly as they did. Get online and take a look at that. This, obviously, is free to ASHRAE members, and I think it's going to be one of our best benefits. Initiative number two, we're going to implement new courses, new certificates, new endorsements. The first new course out of the box is going to be a course on consulting engineering essentials. Why is this so important? Consulting engineers represent about 40% of our membership. They are the largest demographic in our society by far. But how are we going to attract young men and women into that important discipline? How are we going to help those young men and women be productive in their firms right from the start? It's going to be through this course. We are going to pattern this course after our very successful HVAC Essentials course. So the instructors are going to be a practicing professional teamed up with a world-class educator. And this is how we're going to teach the essentials, the fundamentals of that important discipline to young men and young women going into that important part of our industry. This has been assigned to the Professional Development Committee. You'll be able to sign up for the first modules on that course next month. So this is exciting times. And then initiative number three, we're going to develop and implement an internship program. More good news, this is done too. We've got this completed. If you go to our jobs.ashrae.org site, you will see that there's a new tab up at the top on internships. We're asking our student branch members around the world to upload their resumes. We're asking our employers around the world. And by the way, about 21% of our membership are outside North America. So these are global initiatives here. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to ask the employers, give a place for the employers and students to match up. And this is, I think, going to be one of the primary ways that we show young men and women the importance of our work and the passion we have for our work. I think this is going to be a win-win environment. We've done some research on this, and our research has showed that 95% of all the employers are looking for real-world experience on a resume. But how are they going to get that? How are our student branch members going to get that? Well, it's through internships. Our research also showed that 68% of the time, if you hire an intern, you end up offering them a full-time job. 68% of the time. And 85% of the time, if you offer them a position, they accept it. So employers out there, how would you like to be in an environment where your job offer is accepted 85% of the time? To me, that's a real win-win situation. Not only for our industry, but for our members. Now, I'm a big fan of internships because I came out of an internship program myself. As you just heard, I came from a small family-owned business. I'm a fourth-generation mechanical contractor. My great-grandfather is a contractor, my grandfather and my father as well. So when I graduated from college, I went to work for the family firm. And I vividly recall my first day at work. I walked into my dad's office, and that's a picture of my dad, by the way. My dad, I will tell you, is 92 years old. And if you look carefully, even at 92 years of age, he is still conducting research on indoor air quality. Not following it very well, but at least he's doing the research. So I walk into my dad's office and I say, okay, Dad, here I am, brand new engineering degree under my arm. And I said, what do you want me to do first? He didn't even look up. He said, what I want you to do is get back in your car and I want you to drive 100 kilometers up to Omaha, Nebraska, and I want you to join the Nebraska chapter of ASHRAE. I remember standing in front of his desk thinking, he didn't even look up. What am I supposed to do with that? So I said, Dad, I got two questions for you. Number one, what is ASHRAE? I've never heard of it. Number two, why would I join? Now it's that second question that sometimes gives us trouble, right? We know the importance of our work. We know why we're so passionate about this industry and what we do, but sometimes we have trouble expressing it. My dad's answer, I thought, was right on target. He said, look, you go to an ASHRAE meeting, you walk into that room, and in that room you will find the engineers we work for. You will find the building owners we serve. You will find the vendors we buy from. And you will find our competitors. You need to be in the room. That's exactly right. You need to be in the room. So, how do we create a future for our society where you need to be in the room? And I think there are two paths towards that goal. First path, we need to make the room bigger. And we have worked really hard over the last 10 months to make our room bigger. So we have reached out to a wide variety of people around the world and entered into memorandums of understanding or strategic partnership agreements to try and make our room bigger and make our room more diverse. Good example is our friends CIBC, our counterparts in the United Kingdom. We had a relationship with them. We've had a relationship with them for 40 years, and never once entered into any type of contract with them on anything. Now, that's not a real great relationship. So we decided to meet, and we decided to overcome our obstacles. We have signed a new agreement with them where we are going to join hands and collaborate on some of the big issues that face us as a global society, like the harmonization of standards, which is one of the obstacles we face in terms of getting to a more sustainable world. Climate change is another big issue that affects every single person in this room. Every single member, every single one of the 130 countries in which our members reside. But we can't do that alone. We have to make the room bigger. And so that is part of what we're trying to accomplish this year. The second path is our second main directive. We are going to adapt ASHRAE investments to energize chapters and engage members. This also has 3 initiatives. First one is to create a chapter opportunity fund. And we've got that done. And not only did we get it done, it's been really, really successful. The way we handled this is we sent checks to the directors and regional chairs of each of our 14 regions. And all we did is send them a check. And we said, there's money. Go out and energize your chapters, engage your members. We didn't tell them how to spend it. We didn't tell them where to spend it. We didn't tell them when to spend it. All we asked them to do is do what your chapters think is best in terms of energizing and engaging those members. And so we had some really remarkable ideas come up, many from here in the region at large. I'll give you a couple of examples that caught my eye. This one that's in front of you came from 2 regions, Region 8 and Region 12, both of whom have chapters outside North America. And they got together and they said, hey, wait just a second, let's put all of our money in one big pot, then we'll have a big pot of money. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a chapter operations training program for our chapters in South America, Central America, Mexico, and Caribbean. Now these are smaller chapters, these are newer chapters. A lot of these chapters come from developing economies, and so they did. They said that's the way for us to really energize these chapters. And they had a tremendous success with that. They ended up having the training in Cartagena, Colombia, and I can't wait to see how those chapters then take that and move it forward. Here's another one that really caught my eye. This one comes from my home region, Region 9. Here again, there's 2 groups. The Ozarks chapter of ASHRAE, and I would tell you that the Ozarks chapter of ASHRAE is a really small chapter. It's one of the smallest in Region 9. And they partnered with Mechanical Contractor Association of Greater Springfield, and they pooled their money and they built an HVAC&R laboratory in a local university. That's impressive. That's a great way to bring young men and women into our industry and show them what it is we do by showing them how we do this work. And so I thought that was another excellent example of how this money was used. Now I've got some good news for you. The gentleman that is following me on July 1st, his name is Bjorn Olesen. It's taken me a while to learn how to say his name. Bjorn Olesen is from Denmark, and he has announced that he is continuing this program. So your new region is going to get a check. So this chapter should start thinking right away about what kind of ideas can you come up with that would energize your chapter or engage your members, because there's going to be money out there to be had. Initiative number 2, form a leadership academy. And we've got this done, and it was tremendously successful. We had our first Leadership Academy on April 8th in Atlanta, Georgia. This is where we're bringing the rising stars from our chapters from around the world. We're going to put them in a room together where they can network and share best practices. We've got 3 dynamic instructors up there, Devin Avalon, Chris Mathis, and Rachel Romero. And those 3 have distinguished themselves with their leadership ability inside our society. And their purpose there is to help those young rising stars hone their management leadership skills. I was hoping to get 30 or 40 folks at the first Leadership Academy. We actually got 63, so great success there. On top of that, there's now been a call for this Leadership Academy to maybe go on the road, which I think would be an outstanding idea. Again, Bjarne Olesen likes this idea, and we'll be moving this forward as well. I can also tell you that the 63 people, 23 of them came from outside North America, and 6 of them came from your region. So it was a very, very global Leadership Academy. I'm really pleased with the success of that. Much thanks to Members Council for making that happen. And then initiative number 3, we're going to adapt ASHRAE's powerful energy management tool, Building EQ, and we're going to adapt it for use by our student branches. This is going to do 2 things. First thing it's going to do is going to teach our young men and women in our student branches how to do an energy audit, how to do building benchmarking and disclosure, how to use ASHRAE's Building EQ program. This is going to be an online course, complete with all the lectures, all the homework, all the assignments, all the material, and we're going to give it to our student branches and their universities and the associated chapters for free. It's going to be free, right? And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to ask our student branches, when they use this course, part of the course is to actually do a Building EQ label building. We want them to pick a building that gives back to the community. You know, it could be anything. It could be a building on campus. It could be a homeless shelter. It could be a food bank. Anything that makes your community stronger. And with this program, then, Building EQ, we're going to show those building owners how ASHRAE technology can lower their energy costs. Which means, of course, they'll have more money to complete their mission, which, of course, means your community will become stronger. This was given to a presidential ad hoc committee. This course should be ready by June next month of this year. So come the fall term, universities around the world will have another tool that they can use to help draw young men and women into our industry. As also as a part of this, showing you how we made the room bigger, I gave this presentation to APA, and APA happens to be a society, an organization of facility managers, specifically for higher education. And they're a global organization as well. And they got really excited about this, so we signed a memorandum of understanding with them, where they are going to partner with us on campuses where they also have a chapter. So our students will be able to partner with not only practicing professionals from ASHRAE, but also from practicing facility managers. That's going to be a real win-win for our students. So those are all brand new initiatives for our society, you know, and anytime you do something brand new, it can be a little frightening. You know, gets a little intimidating sometimes when you do something for the first time. And that's one of the lessons I learned working construction as a young man. Again, I came from a small family-owned business, so, you know, as a 12 or 13-year-old, my my first job was sweeping the floor at the shop, right? And sorting fittings and doing stuff like that. When I turned 16, my dad said I could go out on my first project site. So I went out on my first project site as an apprentice pipe cover. That's what I did. And I went out and I'll never forget my first foreman. Of course, those foremen, this would have been late 60s. Pretty much all of them were World War II vets, and boy, they were tough. They didn't take anything off of a 16-year-old, I can assure you. So I show up for my first job, 16-year-old. My foreman comes up to me and says, "Wentz, you have two major flaws." Actually, I think he said, "You have at least two major flaws. Number one, you're a prince. Number two, you're the boss's son." I found out that was a really bad combination. Well, he soon found out that I had a third major flaw. I do not like heights. I do not like heights at all. There are those in ASHRAE that will tell you that I'm no taller than I am because I don't want to be any further from the floor than I am right now. So, those of you that have worked construction know how this story is going to unfold, right? As soon as the crew found out that I didn't like heights, every single job on that project site that involved a ladder or a scaffold had my name on it. I spent the entire summer absolutely scared to death. One day my foreman runs up to me and he says, "Wentz, there's a built-up air handler over there, and on top of that air handler is some piping that needs your attention. I want you to jump up there, get your work done because the journeymen are on their way." And he was pointing at a really large built-up air handling unit. That thing was like 3 meters tall. And leaned up against it was this 2-meter ladder. And so I looked at the foreman and I said, "Well, how's that work? How am I going to get on top of that with that puny ladder?" And he said, "Oh, Wentz, stop whining. There's a conduit that runs along the top of that unit. Just get to the top of the ladder, reach up, grab the conduit, pull yourself up there. Now stop making excuses and get to work." And I said, "No, wait just a second. I see how I can get up there, but I see no way of getting down. I won't be able to see where I'm going." And he said, "Oh, Wentz, stop crying. All you have to do is come to the edge, turn yourself around, grab the same conduit, back yourself down. I'll be there for you, and I will guide your feet to the top of the ladder. Now that's the last excuse I want to hear. Get up there and get to work." So up I went, got my work done, came back. I want you to know that I looked to make sure I had a ladder and a foreman. This is very critical for me. So I turned myself around and I grabbed that conduit and I started to back myself down. Just as I got past the point of no return, I saw one of the journeymen walking off with my ladder. And I screamed at him. I said, "That's my ladder. You bring that back here." And he just smiled and waved, and off he went with my ladder. Now I'm screaming at the foreman, "That guy stole my ladder." He said, "Oh, Wentz, stop being so dramatic. It's not that far to the floor, and besides, I've moved most of the pipe and fittings out of the way." Well, what can I do? What are you going to do with that? There's nothing to do. I just hung there. And I hung there as long as I could hang there. I was hanging on for dear life. And of course, eventually, I just couldn't hang on any longer, and I fell. About 1 inch onto another ladder he had cleverly put underneath. Oh, the crew loved that. They laughed about that for weeks, if not months, right? But aren't we all like that? Don't we all want to hang on to things that are safe and comfortable as long as we can? how do we create a future for our society where it's okay to let go and adapt? This takes us to our third broad directive for the year. We're going to adapt ASHRAE technology to produce an immediate direct benefit to members and society. This also has 3 initiatives associated with it. Number 1, we're going to create a technology portal linking ASHRAE technical content to its members. Now, more good news, this is done. It's up, it's running, it's free to ASHRAE members, and it's a powerful tool. You may or may not know that since 1959, ASHRAE has invested $150 million, today's money, in research just for us. That is research just for HVAC&R. But how do you get the latest information on that research? How do you get the newest information to help you do your job? It's going to be through this portal. This portal will allow you to search through our database, come up with journal articles, papers, transactions, all the new things that come out of our research. I've already heard stories from practicing engineers that have used this tool and really like it. I have to thank the Electronic Communication Committee for getting that done so quickly. Initiative number 2, we're going to develop application guides showing you how to apply our technology. And these application guides are not going to be some great big thick book, and they're not going to be written in code language, they're not going to be written in specification language. This is going to be written by practicing professionals for practicing professionals. This is how we're going to take our technology and make sure you know how to use it. Now, this has been assigned to the Publications Committee. They've already got 3 of them ready to publish. Sometime next month, you'll be able to go into our bookstore and you'll be able to get our first 3 application guides written by practicing professionals for practicing professionals. And we are going to develop a whole library of these application guides. I think this is going to be yet another great benefit to our membership. And then finally, initiative number 3, we're going to expand, and I must say greatly expand, our app portfolio. We're going to create apps based for your cell phone, for tablets, for laptops, for desktops. We are going to create those kinds of tools that you need to make sure that you are as effective and as efficient and as productive as we can make you be. And in fact, in Las Vegas, I announced the first 2 that we've rolled out. We're going to roll out some more in Long Beach, which is our annual meeting coming up at the end of June. The 2 that I announced in Las Vegas, one is on superheat calculations, and the other one is based on ASHRAE's weather database, both of which I think will be very useful tools. Much thanks here to the Publications Committee for getting this done so quickly. So, that's our theme for the year. I'm sure you're sitting there going, well, what can I do? Well, you can do a lot. Hire an intern. Become more active in the Hellenic chapter. You can make a commitment to apply ASHRAE technology to make your community stronger. There's a lot you can do, but we're going to have to unlock the power of adaptation in order to do that. But we can do it. We can do it. The greatest risk we face involves not wanting to adapt. It isn't any different than me and my slide book. Okay? 1971, that was an important part of my life. But I realized the greater risk for me was in not putting that technology down and picking up that newfangled hand calculator. That was true for me as an individual. It's true for us as a society as well. The greatest risk we face is our resistance to change. That's why we must adapt today to shape tomorrow. Thank you.